guys, it's Olivia and welcome back to Live in Literature. Thank you so much for all the love and support I received on my last video, and if you have not seen it yet, feel free to head over to my channel to check it out. Well guys, welcome back to spooky season for the month of October. I'm so excited to be here with you. As most of you know, we've reached 800 subscribers in last week's video, which is so exciting, and that's why I'm here to announce the 800 subscriber giveaway winner, which is, drumroll please. Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here and say a massive congratulations to our 800 subscriber giveaway, Tanya Sophia. Congratulations, love, and thank you so much for subscribing to Live in Literature. You'll be receiving 2 books, a book boy from Bookmark, and a tote bag, all from me within the next little bit. You are so welcome. And again, thank you so much to everyone who entered the giveaway and who is here supporting the channel. I love you guys. I do a giveaway every 100 subscribers, so don't forget to enter those when you see that I hit another 100 on the channel. Again, thank you guys so much for entering, and thank you, Tanya, you're the best. So congratulations to our winner. We are so very grateful for you. Thank you so much for all your love and support, and seriously, everyone who entered the giveaway, thank you guys so much. We will be doing another giveaway at 900 subscribers, so don't forget to tune in then once we reach 900. But without further ado, let's get into today's video, which is haunted house book recommendations, okay? I have 7 beautiful haunted house book recommendations for you today.
Oh, so it's a girl house. What?
Some are in the fantasy genre, some are in the urban fantasy, some are in thriller and completely contemporary, and some are in the more like very, very, very gothic vibes. I think that I absolutely adore a haunted house book. I love a book about a haunted house. I'm definitely more of a like traditional like fantasy haunted house and more of like an ethereal being kind of like haunted house vibe, ghosting haunted houses and things like that. I don't love like a modern day haunted house, like those freak me the frick out.
Weenie Hut Juniors? Are you saying I belong at Weenie Hut Juniors?
I don't love a monster house. I'm very scared of haunted houses normally in my real life. But in a book, I absolutely live, because normally there's a lot of like tension and like scary moments, but like the house is haunting you. Very much giving like Jane Eyre vibes, which like I read Jane Eyre when I like years and years and years ago. I love Jane Eyre. I feel like that was the original like haunted house book.
You wish me to be your wife?
I swear it.
You love me?
I do.
Then I will marry you.
Was Jane Eyre, and I'm absolutely obsessed. So today, I'm here to recommend to you 7 haunted house book recommendations for you. I hope that you enjoy, and let's just get right into it. So the first book and one of my most favorite haunted house book recommendations is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. Now, I love V.E. Schwab. I think that V.E. Schwab is one of the most talented authors of all time. I think she is absolutely brilliant. I think this is a great haunted house book recommendation. This is about a young woman named Olivia Pryor. I know, ironic, but anyways, Olivia Pryor is a young girl. This is technically I would consider this like a YA, like a YA fantasy book, but this is technically like Olivia's like a little girl. Like Olivia's only like 11 or like 10 or 11 or 12 years old. But like the book is so gothic and moody and vibrant that like I absolutely recommend it to everyone. So please read this. Like it's not like specifically for like middle schoolers. Like this can be like kind of an any ages kind of read book. But anyways, Olivia Pryor is a young woman. She's an orphan who lives at this like all girls like prep school. She does not talk. She is mute and she signs everything. And she doesn't know where her family came from except for this journal that her mother gave her when she passed, of like all of these weird like ink blot drawings that like are just like ink stains on a page, until Olivia starts to notice things about them. But a letter gets sent for her while she's at this all-girls school to come home to Gallant, which is where her mother was from, which is this like manor in the middle of these sprawling woods. And Olivia goes to Gallant, except even though her mother's one warning to her was to never go back to Gallant. But Olivia wants to know where her last remaining relative might be, who her cousin is, and like what is going on at this manor, and basically finding out that this manor is essentially like holding people there like hostage. The manor is haunted, the people in it are haunted, and like everything goes awry inside of Gallant, and Olivia has to figure out what's going on. I am obsessed with this book. It is absolutely moody. It is absolutely like decrepit and gothic and like inspirational. I think that the main character in like in the eyes of like a young child was a really interesting perspective to take. And I just absolutely adore this book. I think it is absolutely so well written and absolutely spooky vibes. And this is a perfect book for Halloween and the Halloween season. So please check out Gallant by V.E. Schwab. The next one is technically a YA, like historical fantasy, and this one's also kind of giving dark academia. We have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. If you are looking for gothic, like creepy house by the ocean sea vibes with academic rivals, this is the book for you. We have Effie, a young woman studying at an architect's college, but she's the only woman in her program, and she's slow going because she's the only woman, and she's fighting for like rights for other women in the architect school. Her favorite author, who has since passed away, their family's estate is essentially having a contest to redo this famous author's like entire home. She enters the contest, she wins, that she's brought out to this manor by the sea that is essentially like slowly crumbling into the ocean because it's gone into such disarray. She finds another man while she's there though. His name is Preston Hellery. He's a literature student, essentially on the task to prove that this author was a fraud and not a real, like was not a good person. Effie and him are constantly at each other's throats in rivalry, but then as they like start to get to know each other more, like they start to like find a balance and essentially are trying to figure out like what is going on with this manor. Why is it falling apart? What is going on to haunt this place? Was this author a fraud? And like, can these two people work together to figure it out? It's very sweet. It's very cute. It's very like gothic and moody. And I kind of love like an ocean, like a house by the ocean kind of vibe that's slowly crumbling into the ocean. It kind of gives me like, oh my gosh, that house in the Series of Unfortunate Events that's like by the ocean. It's like on stilts and it eventually like falls into the water. Anyone know what I'm talking about? It's such a great movie. But regardless, this is such a fabulous book and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. This is extremely well written, a really fun and fast-paced read, and also just like a very attention-grabbing. I absolutely adore it. Next is another novel, again, set by a crumbling manor out by the ocean. We have House of Salt and Sorrow. House of Salt and Sorrow is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. If anyone's familiar with that, if anyone else watched the Barbie movie growing up, I love 12 Dancing Princesses. Ooh, ooh. There's a young woman named Annalay who essentially used to live with her father and mother and her 12 sisters, or like 11 sisters. But there is sadness brought upon the house as there have been in recent times 4 tragic deaths of 4 of her sisters who have all suspiciously like died very like recently within one another. And Annalay is suspicious about what is going on. The house is haunted and her sisters keep sneaking off in the middle of the night to essentially like go to these like foreign places and foreign lands to go dance with strangers like in the dark, and essentially like who or what they are dancing with, like Annalay doesn't know, but she's trying to figure it out. There's a mysterious stranger that she ends up connecting with. He has his own motives for why he's doing things. This one is very much like, it's again a YA gothic fantasy. Like the goosebumps and the ick and like the creepy crawly vibes because of some of the like creepiness that happens in this book. There's like possession of young women, there's ghosts, there's like decrepit creatures, there's just a lot of death. It's creepy and spooky, and it also has a really interesting twist with a fantasy element that's super interesting. Regardless, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This one's a really fun one, and I think that anyone who likes the 12 Dancing Princesses will love this book. Then we've got one that I just do not stop talking about recently. We have Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Starling House, I've gone on my full tirade about how much I love Starling House, and I think this is a wonderful book for the fall season. This gives fall vibes. It is absolutely fabulous. We have a young woman named Opal who's in her like mid to late 20s. She's a high school dropout. She's living in a motel with like her stepbrother. She's trying to provide a life for them by working at like this crappy Kmart, essentially like type place of this grocery store. And she's just always been haunted by this like house that's like in her like that's in like the town that she lives in Eden, Kentucky, called Starling House. There is a caretaker there who lives there and is trying to like essentially like protect like the town from the mysteries that are inside this house, but no one knows. And so one day Opal decides to stumble upon Starling House. She meets Arthur, the caretaker, who's been lonely and sad and is like living with these nightmares and fighting by himself and like has no one to help him. And Opal essentially like takes up the call to like come into this house that she's felt called to her whole life and like help him essentially like figure things out and like why this house is so haunted and what is haunting it. This house and this book is absolutely wonderful. It is a fantastical journey. It is a contemporary fantasy, so this is modern times. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's a really interesting book. It like hit deeper in some places than I expected it to. A really, really, really well written and an extraordinary debut for Alex E. Harrow. I think it's a fabulous book. And I seriously love it. If you are looking for that like more like mature, grown up, like haunted house vibe, and these two adults who are working together to essentially stop it, like this one's for you. I highly recommend you check this one out. It is absolutely fabulous. Next, we have a book by one of my most favorite authors. We have a book by Miss Allison Saft, and this one is Down Comes the Night. And this book is described as a snow encrusted romantic fantasy. It is a snowy romance. Essentially, we have a young woman named Wren, and she is part of the Queen's Guard, and she has special magic. And essentially, she uses her magic in an incorrect way. She is banished from the Queen's Guard, and she's essentially summoned to this manor at the end, at like essentially like in between these two rival kingdoms to come and help this manor with one of their servants who has fallen ill. But when she arrives, she realizes that her patient is not a servant, but actually like the an heir of a rival kingdom in like the kingdom on the other side of this mountain, and he's at this hall to essentially like gain redemption for a crime that he committed. And essentially these two people, she's like healing him, but as she's healing him, she's finding out that his illness is like not caused by normal things, and it's something that's going on in this haunted house that they're in. The manor is crumbling, the snowy caps are keeping them trapped within, and she's not allowed out of her room after nightfall, and she's trying to figure out why. So essentially like these two people from like rivaling kingdoms are like put in this mansion together and essentially are like trying to figure out what is going on. This one is again a like YA romantic fantasy. It is very sweet, very gothic, very spooky. Obviously it's giving like, oh, she's curing him of an illness, and it's like really hot and sexy, but then there's monsters looking around in this spooky house, and they're two enemies of rival kingdoms, and like can they trust each other and like come together to work together to figure out what's going on in this house. This one's a really fun one. I really enjoyed it. It's almost like she took like a I don't know, like a very like proper like medieval fantasy and combined it with like the gothic like Victorian vibe. And that's what I kind of get from this one, is more of like that Victorian like proper sense of gothic fantasy, very Jane Eyre, very Regency kind of vibes.
Just keep looking at me. No one else matters.
So if you like the Regency era and you like that like proper pish posh like Victorian moment, which I absolutely do, this one's going to be for you. Down Comes the Night. Check it out. The next one is a wonderfully enchanting library, more like haunted library kind of vibe. We have A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. A Sorcery of Thorns is about a young woman. This is a standalone fantasy about a woman named Elizabeth. She is essentially like a keeper at a library. She wants to become a warden someday, protect this enchanted library that she works at. She loves the library. It's her home. But one day a magic grimoire, essentially grimoires are like books that contain like magical creatures or like spells and stuff, gets released. And essentially it looks like it's Elizabeth's fault, even though it wasn't, even though she was trying to like trap the grimoire and take it back into the library. But essentially she's sentenced to the capital to like await her fate in the justice system, where she meets a sorcerer named Nathaniel. Now in this world, sorcerers are all evil.
I don't want to be the bad guy anymore.
Nathaniel and Elizabeth essentially end up teaming up because there's something to do with this grimoire that has to do with his household and his manor that's in the capital. And she ends up like finding out what's going on with Nathaniel's family. There's a curse upon his family. She has to help him like figure it out. And they basically have to like track down and find out where this grimoire is and if they can like bring it back into the library and to clear Elizabeth's name together. This one is really fun and magical. This one is again similar to Down Comes the Night and more of that Victorian like English like proper style. It's very much of like corsets and petticoats and like proper hats and canes, and I like live for that era. Very early 1900s. It's very beautiful, very fun to read about, and I love the sorcerer and the grimoire aspect and like the working in the library aspect. These two people are so darling. I love Nathaniel, I love Elizabeth. I think they make a darling couple in this book, and they really love to hate each other, and then they start to work together, and it's gorgeous. So this one's a standalone fantasy if you're looking for something that's a little just like quick and easy. Actually, most of these are standalones if I'm thinking about it, but again, Sorcerer of Thorns, cannot recommend it enough. It is absolutely fabulous. And last but certainly not least, in our haunted house book recommendations, we have The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Now, Riley Sager is an extremely famous like horror novelist. This one's definitely going to chart more into a horror novel and more of like a thriller mystery of like modern times. So we have the famous Hope family. There was a massacre in the early 1930s. Lenora Hope, quote unquote, hung her sister with a rope. Yikes, scary. That's the poem. And so she killed, it says that Lenora Hope killed her entire family, killed them all, but the police can never prove it. So there she's been for the past like 60 years, sitting in like a wheelchair, completely mute, and like can't move or talk essentially very much, except for like barely being able to like type out some things with one finger. In this mansion at Hope's End, which is a cliffside mansion. It's very beautiful. It's still owned by the Hope family. Kit McDeer is, it's 1938 now. Kit McDeer is a like live-in nurse. Essentially, Lenora's nurse ran away in the middle of the night and no one knows where she went. So Kit comes to the manor to take care of Lenora. And as she does, Lenora decides to start revealing some things about saying like, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, and let me tell you my story about why it wasn't me. And essentially like secrets get revealed, the Hope Manor's totally haunted. Like, is this manor completely decrepit and gone? Like, can no one live there anymore after the massacres that happened in the early 1930s? It is grotesque. It is scary. The twists are, it's twist upon twist upon twist upon twist in this book. I absolutely enjoyed it. And I think it's an excellent recommendation if you are looking for a true horror novel in the house region of haunted houses. I absolutely love this book. You have got to check it out. So that is all the book recommendations I have for you guys today. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Live in Literature YouTube channel. Again, a massive thank you to our giveaway winner. You'll be receiving your Book Boyfriend bookmark, 2 books, and a book tote from me. I love you the most, and thank you so much for subscribing. And thank you so much for everyone who entered the giveaway. Don't forget, every 100 subscribers, we do a giveaway. So 900 is next. I'm so excited. We'll do something extra special for that one because we're so close to 1,000. I can't even believe it. And again, I hope you guys are enjoying our spooky themed books for the whole month. I know I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying reading them. But I love you guys the most, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.